Greetings, everyone. This is Rockwell Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup, and we're going to get started on this week's Spider-Man tie-ins and miscellaneous Marvel books, as well as the week's one DC book. Kicking things off with Scream: Curse of Carnage, number 4. Whoa, excuse me. Where we left off, Scream investigating the recent symbiote-related attacks in New York, came face-to-face with the source. None other than the mother of Grendel. Yes, from Beowulf. So we begin with Andy, the human part of Scream, basically in a how's the best way to put this? A hallucination of sorts, that she's talking with her parents as well as her gym coach, Flash Thompson, and they're saying, hey, it's great to see you. All you gotta do now is just let go. However, Scream does not want to let Andy go, and so she manages to save Andy, fights back against the creatures that Grendel's mother has underwater for her. And, well, however, Grendel's mother is a bit more for her than she can handle. Also, it appears that she's been awake since for a while now. Wow. And so she tries once again to separate Scream from Andy, but Andy fights back and tries to escape. However, her escape doesn't last, and Grendel's mother retells the tale of Beowulf. Beowulf, who is now known as Thor. And she explains that the stories told of their kind, they were written to make humans tremble, to fear them, to herald the arrival of Null. And once again, Grendel's mother removes the Scream symbiote from Andy. She tries to swim out of the water, but she gets seemingly swallowed whole by Grendel's mother. And that is where the issue ends. Next up, we've got Ravencroft, number 2. Where we left off, Ravencroft Institute for the Criminally Insane had been reopened with a brand new staff, including the Green Goblin, and former Thunderbolt and Master of Evil Moonstone, mercenary known as the Taskmaster, the longtime Spider-Man foe Mac Gargan, aka Scorpion, previously known as Venom as well, Roderick Kingsley, the Hobgoblin. Yeah, it's not exactly the best. Oh, yes, and let's not forget the acting warden, Mayor Wilson Fisk. However, there are secrets to Ravencroft. More and more of which seem to be coming to the surface. So we begin with a phone call between Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four and Wilson Fisk. The former of which being in the negative zone at the moment. And not being happy about the secrecy of Fisk's staff, or surrounding Fisk's staff or Ravencroft. Then, however, a package has arrived, and Fisk explains to Richards that, he'll call him back. And then there's a flashback to many years ago. Wilson Fisk arrives at Ravencroft, being driven by none other than Hammerhead. It appears Hammerhead has killed someone, and well, Fisk has a deal with Dr. Dodgson for disposing of such needs in the unwanted cell. Well, it turns out that the place is about to be remodeled, so they might end up finding, so it's, when it comes to using the place to dispose of bodies, well, maybe Dr. Dodgson wants more money so they can be more creative about it. However, Kingpin tosses in the dead body into the unwanted cell and then tosses in Dodgson, shutting the door behind them. Then a few weeks ago, the Unwanted spoke with him after the events of Ruins of Ravencroft, Sabretooth. They did so telepathically, and they forced Fisk to open the cell, allowing them to escape. But he can't just, not let the plate. He can't just, stop renovation of Ravencroft. So, well, it turns out that the package the mysterious package he received was none other than Dr. Dodgson's name tag, and as he's studying it, John Jameson comes in, quite mad about the new staff, and making a good point, asking what, Stannis not available? And of course, Jameson threatens to go to the press with this. And Fisk explains, okay, sure, you go to the press with that, and, this might come out. This being video footage of when Jameson was under the control of Carnage. So he's basically being blackmailed into secrecy. And he explains to Misty that he can no longer control his change. That's why he didn't turn into Man-Wolf against Hyde the other day. His transformation's been off ever since the whole thing with Carnage. He doesn't know what to do with it. But he agrees that the two of them never should have trusted the Kingpin. Meanwhile, Fisk opines to himself that John Jameson's a naive fool, sees the world in black and white, not understanding that the only color that matters is green. And what he's doing is what has to be done. Back at the prison, the villain known as Grizzly, as well as Ringer, are working laundry. When Grizzly talks about actually, trying to just like he wants to actually reform, and it's not for the greatest reasons, but he wants to maybe try and be a good guy. or at least not a bad guy. Part of it being that, well, now that everyone's got camera phones, there's practically an entire YouTube channel's worth of videos of him getting beaten up. So, However, Ringer's not down with this. Locks the door of the room they're in, and it turns out there are 3 other guys in there too. And it looks like a fight's about to start. And one of the guards goes to take care of prisoner 616, but then gets dragged in, and something is very off, however. So off that it's even got Norman Osborn, of all people, concerned. It's apparently at the front gate. Though something's going on with Mayor Dunphy, or something's going on with the prisoner 616 pulling the guard in. It's got security a little on edge. So, Fisk, Osborn, and John Jameson go outside, where they're met at the gates by none other than Dr. Ashley Kafka. The late Dr. Ashley Kafka. Late because she's dead. Though, to be fair, that's probably the best looking zombie I've ever seen. I mean, there's no rot. So, something's going on. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Ghost Rider number 5. Where we left off. Okay. Danny Ketch had been duped into going after Belasco in Limbo. While there, he fought the Spirit of Corruption, bested the Spirit of Corruption, and was turned into the new Spirit of Corruption. Afterwards, he then fought resurrected Jack-O-Lantern, who had been brought back from the dead and sent back from hell by Lilith, who was jockeying to take over the Infernal Throne. And it has, in fact, been working behind the scenes with Belasco. Now, for an even further back flashback. Many, many years ago, real time, not comic time, there was a one-shot called Hearts of Darkness. It starred 3 of Marvel's most popular characters of the time. Wolverine, who's still fairly popular. Punisher, who does have his fans, and of course, Ghost Rider. And the 3 of them fought against none other than Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. They won, and it's one of the most 90s comics ever. Alrighty. So we begin at the cruise ship from earlier in the series. Wolverine and Punisher are separately investigating at the same time, though they trade a few barbs, but it's made clear that they know exactly who it is they're looking for. Well, Wolverine remarks that he's never known Danny to kill innocents. Turns out, so we cut to Green River, Utah, where Blaze has got Mephisto, who he sprung from Hotel Inferno, chained up in a motel room. And they talk, and and Mephisto explains quite a bit, but things like, Blaze is going about this all wrong. Oh, some demons escaped from hell. Fine. Okay, what's the big deal? Let them forget they were demons. Let them fall in love, have a family, and then once they've got something to lose, then you come back and you rip it all away from them and bring them back to hell. But Johnny's like, yeah, that's not me. I ain't you. And he also kind of, he explains a few things about Lilith. And apparently, Lilith has always had an eye for uniting the various underworlds. So, and Mephisto at least knows that she's working with Belasco. Who knows who else she's working for? Back at Cyberstill's cemetery, Danny Ketch is drinking and talking to his mother's grave. Caretaker shows up and tries to give him a wake up call. So, yeah, okay, she knew that Belasco was going to turn him into the spirit of corruption. But, you know, she also explains that he's been a go-to. He knows the score. This is bigger than just him. And to be fair, I mean, being forced into stuff like, like, oh yeah, hey, this is bigger than you. You kind of get a little, especially when it's not your choice to be involved in it. Really, I can understand getting a little perturbed about things. Back at the bar, Emma's closing up, and someone starts calling for her. It's Blackheart, and he wants to know where Danny Ketch is. And it seems he's killed all the bar's patrons. Back at site. And so, Danny and Caretaker are on their head out. And, however, one of the wheels of Danny's motorcycle gets shot out and he crashes. Leading the pair to, well, Wolverine and Punisher. And Wolverine talked Punisher into taking out one of Danny's wheels instead of Danny's head. So, But however, Danny turns into the spirit of corruption and starts trying to steal the corruption from Wolverine, whose claws have no effect on him, and also is unaffected by bullets from Frank. Meanwhile, in Wilder, Kentucky, Lilith and the demons loyal to her, including her children, the Lilin, are killing people, but mainly looking for Orb, longtime Ghost Rider villain, and now owner of one of the Watcher's eyes. Blaze now is well aware that Lilith is behind all of this. His power has been growing. And there's an item that Lilith needs to uncover that she has yet to uncover. However, without the item, victory is not assured at this moment. So she sends 3 of her children, Mandela, Elvira, Mara, on various missions. Mara is to locate Blaze. Vandella and Elvira have business to attend to in New York, and it's time to speed things along. Anyways, Ghost Rider's left the motel. Him and Mephisto were dragging Mephisto down the road on his bike when a portal opens, and they pass through, only to run into none other than Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, who wants to know damn well just where Johnny's heading with Strange's prisoner, Mephisto. And that is where the issue ends. Next up, we've got Star, number 2. Where we left off, Star, having discovered that the reality gem is bonded to her, has had a run-in with Loki, run-in with Jessica Jones that almost resulted in her getting her face punched. and has most recently run into the Scarlet Witch. Also, there's a quartet keeping looking at wondering whether or not to attack her or not, or wondering what to do about her. The issue begins nowhere and everywhere. Scarlet Witch and Star are making their way through this place, with Wanda lecturing Star and kind of saying, "Hey, I'm, you know," and eventually explaining that Star not knowing how to use the reality gem properly is basically tromping all over reality, while Scarlet Witch tries to very meticulously arrange reality just right, and yeah. They're attacked by shadow creatures, and remember that quartet I was talking about? Well, they're in the East Village, and they're, again, like I said, discussing what to do with when it comes to Star. Things can back everywhere and nowhere. Wanda and Star are dealing with the shadow creatures, having manifested energy weapons and energy blades and a shield. And that's when Wanda explains that Star is wielding the stone. And the way Star is wielding the stone is leaving a huge trail in her wake, which leaves her vulnerable, makes her exposed and easy to find. And she accidentally knocks Star out briefly. It starts a brief flashback to months ago. I'm guessing that would be during the events of the first arc of the current Captain Marvel series. And Wanda explains that she wants to help Star not make the same mistakes that she has. And kind of, hey, you've got the Reality Stone. Okay, fine. I'm not going to take it from you. I want to help you learn how to use it, though. But they're nearing a dragon they have to face, and apparently they get to it, and Star claims that it's no dragon. Meanwhile, the quartet in the East Village is revealed to be none other than the Black Order, whose fifth and final member has just joined them. Now that Corvus Glaive has finally returned. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Punisher Soviet, number 4. Where we left off here, Punisher and his new ally, Valery Stepanovich, have been going after Russian mobster Konstantin Pachenko. Now, Stepanovich has been doing it for personal reasons. It's partially, part of it is, okay, yeah, he's a bad dude, needs to die. But there's also the fact that bad dude betrayed betrayed the Russian army back in Afghanistan, and, well, got Stepanovich tortured and the rest of the men on the unit killed. Brutally killed, I might add. Punisher is after him because, well, mobster. So, the pair kidnap Poroshenko's wife, and they begin questioning her. Apparently, this is Poroshenko's 5th wife in 23 years. None of the first 4 never made it to 3 years. Well, she's lasted 5. And so they did some looking. They did some digging. She's working on putting him on. She's honestly trying to get him more on this. No, get him out of. You know, the racket he's in, basically, into more legitimate business dealings. And in fact, the attacks on Prochenko's forces by Stepanovich, which were believed to be committed by the Punisher, kind of helped him start to see the light. But they needed time to finish their transition to legal income, which meant maintaining the illegal side, which meant protection. So, military contractors, and then Frank and Valerie realized that, it was that honestly, that was too easy of an interrogation. They realized she's got a tracker on her. Yeah, there is. But before they can remove it, however, or probably around the time probably as they're removing it, well, military contractors show up to take out Frank and Valerie. However, yeah, it does not go. Also, God, I can't remember the friggin' name. Prochenko has basically said that, yeah, I'd like my wife back, but I mean, hey, if she gets killed, it ain't the end of the world. But one of the choppers is taken out, the other one not so much, and the trio escape into the woods. With Prochenko's wife with her basically, and Frank telling her basically if she wants to live, she should come with them. Do as they tell her. Tell them what they want to know. She's game. And that is where the issue ends, with the three of them marching through the woods. And now for the final book of the week. Basketful of Heads. Number 5. So where we left off at Basketful of Heads, the sheriff's son revealed that he was kind of involved in everything that's going on, and took our heroine hostage. He's been interrogated. Apparently, a while back he found a cassette case marked police evidence. However, no tape. So he wants to know. He's asking June where the tape is. June doesn't know. She doesn't know what he's even talking about. And it turns out that the escaped convicts were all a ruse. And it turns out that also Liam is an undercover Fed. Furthermore, the sheriff's son is an aide to a congressman. And apparently the past summer, the congressman attended a series of conferences at the Boston branch of the FBI, got a bunch of money for their organized crime program, wants to help them spend it. So, goes with, on air. So, kid goes with him on the air to run errands. It's like, hey, make some copies of this. So he goes down, makes copies. Copies him right next to vending machines. So he's, swap out the toner, and he feds him out of a conference room, whatever. Apparently, it turns out there's a Fed with the initials LE on Brody Island. And they got a map of the island with the sheriff's house, the location of the sheriff's house circled. But apparently Liam has told everyone that if he disappears, the tape will be delivered to man at the FBI. So everyone figured June has the tape. If she does, she doesn't know it. It turns out, though, that Ned Hamilton, who she killed with the axe earlier, he's in on it too. So, and then we learn the story, the full story about the girl who was found with the money. So, the sheriff's maid, Gabby, had her spine fused about 10 years previously, so she can't bend over so well. So she started bringing in girls to help with the dusting, kids who'd been in some trouble and needed straightening out. Emily was one such girl. Well, sheriff's son took a liking to her. They fooled around a lot. And then, well, she got knocked up. While they were arguing, he claims that she missed a step and tripped on the stairs and miscarried. The story that she tried to state was that he punched her in the stomach, causing her to miscarry. So, the sheriff's wife gave Emily 10 grand to go away. However, the sheriff did one better. Emily had just left with the cash when the sheriff caught up with her, said he was going to file a report that the money was stolen. He said, hey, she could keep the money, but if she tried to spread some story about the sheriff's son causing a miscarriage, he'd make sure everyone knew she was a thief. No one will believe a word she said, and she'd get 5 years, especially since she'd already had a rap sheet. And the sheriff also told Emily he never wanted to see her name again unless he was reading her obituary. So she decided to make it so that was the case, and jumped into the river, shattering her spine. Afterwards, the sheriff's son told Liam about it. The miscarriage, the lies, and all the payoff. And the idea is that the congressman that he works for is probably to take over Ted Kennedy's seat when Kennedy pops up. Keep in mind, this is the early 80s. And the congressman is grooming the sheriff's son to take his seat. But no one's going to vote for him if, they hear what's on the recording. And so they figure that, so it's figured, hey, they'll take June to the boat and basically threaten Liam, hey, tell us where the tape is or we're going to cut your girlfriend's face off. And so as they go outside, which admittedly Ned Hamilton's truck kind of has the sheriff's son a bit curious. And June explains that she was running and scared. He was puking off the side of the road, and she can explain later. She also asks, what happens to her if they get the tape. And she explains that, Liam gave her something. She hadn't had the chance to open it yet. Her bag split open, though, along the way. She had to grab a wicker basket, picnic basket with everything in it. So, but the package is in there. It's wrapped up in some really pretty paper. And he he's trying to angle for kind of a, hey, if I let you go, maybe we can have a little fun too, huh? And he discovers the basket with the 2 decapitated heads in it. Both of which are, Ned's head asked Hank how his night's going, and the other, Pluto's head, is like, hey, kill her. You gotta kill her. But Emily's managed to get the axe out, disarms Hank, but Hank does throw one of the heads at her. He runs back into the sheriff's station, but she's trying to. Apparently, the axe doesn't like metal, so she's trying to cut the handcuffs so she can get loose. Hank comes back out with a shotgun, telling her to never bring an axe to a gunfight. And that's where the issue ends. Well, that's where that part of the issue is. We've still got chapter 15 of Sea Dogs. So where we left off, the crew of the HMS Havoc had spotted 3 Spanish frigates on the edge of a hurricane. But they're still curious as to just what's hunting them. So they find, and so the crew find the 2 of the frigates. They begin to go towards them, taking their time to get close enough to make sure to hit. As they do so, however, the 3 werewolves aboard climb up from the lower decks and begin an assault on the crew. With one of the crewmen saying, "'Tis weather when none are aboard, but mad dogs and Englishmen. I know what you are. Come on, you lice-bitten curs. Come closer and find out what I am." And that is where the chapter ends. And that's it for the roundup this week. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.